Hello YouTube, and welcome to, well, probably the last package and pick video, and possibly the last video for 2011. So if I forget to say it at the end, Happy New Year. And if I don't, scratch that last bit. But anyway, just before the kind of festivities, a couple of packages arrived in, but with the holidays, just didn't get to do them as a package and pick video. So why not do them now, before the year's out? One of them is an eBay package, and the other one's a trade that we did. So we'll start with the eBay package, and it was from a forum member on the Sega 8-bit forums who actually he put up a load of auctions, and there was a lot of unusual stuff, all silvers and Sega cards and all this sort of stuff, really unusual or hard to get stuff. And if it hadn't been Christmas, that kind of time of the year where I suppose you're trying to be good with your spending, because you're buying presents and whatnot, I would have been tempted to buy more, but no, I was restrained and only picked up the one thing, and it cost about a tenner. But before we get to the item, I just want a little comment on the packaging itself. And he put this little sticker on the package saying "Merry Christmas to Mewtwo from Chichenko," because of course that's our forum names. But my eBay name is not that, so he obviously worked it out and put it on. But it was a nice little touch, and that's the difference between, I suppose, just a random eBayer who just had to get money and not care about product and service, and someone who's fairly nice and does a good job. Well, enough wiffle waffle. On to the game. Da, da, da. And it is Transbot, the purple release. And you're probably going, purple? Oh man, you win colours. It's like blue cartridges, purple covers. Isn't the game enough? No! But this is the Portuguese purple. This is a late re-release in the system, and because Transbot would have been a very early title, and it came on the simple grid pattern with just the Transbot robot dude and the plain standard Sega text. So this came out really near the end, and they've redone it into the late style, where you have the big picture, which I really like that background, the Transbot logo and the Sega Master System, but they've got the tighter grid, and for some reason, instead of just doing it white like all the other late releases, they've put in this kind of bluey, purpley kind of graded colour thing. It's not bad actually. I kind of like it. And there's a spine. Again, like the late releases, and the back. Fair bit of full Portuguese text in the back there too, and the same couple of images from the original release. But of course, because it's Portuguese, what they were actually doing were importing Tectoy games, and hence why it has the blue label. There we go, blue labels again. But this is the Tectoy blue label, and it has manufactured by Tectoy in the box, because this is the Tectoy version. And they seem to have brought over these Portuguese games. I'm not too sure why. I'm sure there must have been some sort of marketing reason. I mean, they have guaranteed Portuguese basically on the front, because of course they speak Portuguese in Brazil and in Portugal, so they could just import them over, and there would be Portuguese releases, as opposed to the standard multilingual PAL releases. So, and you might notice that this doesn't contain like a manual or anything, but I can't speak Portuguese. Or can I? Tu esta vez num abrigo subterrâneo quando a guerra nuclear começou no ano solar de 2XXX e para isso sobreviveste. No, I can't speak Portuguese. And generally with the foreign language ones, Tectoy ones, Japanese ones, I'm not really as pushed on the manuals, because I can't speak the language. At least with the American and the PAL ones, the Australian ones, I can actually read what they say. So yeah, there's, again, part of the reason for picking this up is because I like the look of the box, and it's a bit different. The Portuguese releases, obviously they were not widely distributed in Europe, and there's a bit of the why were they released? Presumably it was some sort of marketing push near the end of the system's life, because they actually had a console. and it came in a purple box, same type of graded system as this. And on the back, they had, I think it was 8 games. There was like Transbot, Indiana Jones, Asterix, Road Rash, I think, Zappo Zoo, or a few others. But the most infamous was probably Taz in Escape from Mars. And the reason why I say infamous is because nobody knows if it exists. Like, they had all these pictures in all the other games. You can find them on eBay probably today if you go and look. But no one has, as far as I know, ever seen a copy of Taz. So if you see a copy of Taz in Escape from Mars that has this purpley look, pick it up, because it's probably worth a bomb. I mean, then you have to wonder, did they ever release it? It's so hard to say. I would have assumed that if they were going to release these purple editions, they would have all been released at the same time. You know, that maybe as coming up to Christmas or some sort of holiday, they would bring out these kind of so-called Portuguese games, and the system in the new kind of in the same type of packaging as kind of a draw, you know, a low-cost alternative to the Mega Drive, which is how the Master System was often sold late in its life. And in this case, they were able to sell it. Well, it's localized. Perhaps they just ran out of they were perhaps doing them somewhat sequentially, and they said, well, it's not selling enough to warrant it, or perhaps they even just ran out of license. It's one of those things you'd love to know, but we may never know unless one appears on eBay, in which case that will be a feeding frenzy. But anyway, thanks to Chukchenko, really pleased to get that in the set. And next up we have throwing it away. Next up we have a trade that I did with Speed Demon on the Sega 8-bit forums. Most of you probably watching this have probably seen my trades video, and even though I had a bunch of games and console manuals, I probably shouldn't have bothered. I should have just said, here is Sonic Spinball, because that is like, that's what everyone cared about. Multiple messages, have you got Sonic Spinball? Oh, can I make an offer of Sonic Spinball? And it was some really tempting offers. But I been back and forth a bit with Speed Demon before, and he bought my Cheese Catastrophe, and he'd be looking for some American games, and I suppose I had an eye out for some PAL games for him, because, well, naturally, he's in America. It's easier to get American games. I'm in Europe. It's easier to get European games. So he said, well, I can do a kind of a bundle of some American exclusives for you, and, you know, we can trade for Sonic. And I said, sounds good to me. Because, yeah, not everyone, I suppose, cared so much about, you know, they might focus on maybe the PAL set. But I kind of like to, you know, get a bit from all over, so that's why I've got some tech toys, got a Japanese one or two, not too much there, but got a few Americans. Just as an aside then, as if I haven't gone aside enough, now I'm into a totally different video, and that far aside, Speed Demon has got a very impressive collection himself. He's got like a nearly complete NES cart set, for not NES cart, an American NTSC cart set, and he sent me pictures of it, and it's like, wow, that thing's up a fair bit of space. He's only missing, like, I think, like the really expensive ones, Nintendo World Championship and Stadium Events, I think that's what it is. He's got one of those TV NES combo units as well, and I'd imagine they're fairly damn hard to track down and probably cost a pretty penny too. But now he's going for, like, not only a complete NTSC set, which I think he's completed. I think he might have completed that as well. Jeez, there's no stopping him. Although, to be fair, the NTSC set is only like 100 games, or just over, so it's probably a fair bit more manageable. The PAL set is nearly 300, and then of course it's probably harder to source them abroad. Like, I suppose the American ones are a bit harder for me to source abroad too. You know, that's why it's handier to do these trades. So anyway, enough whipple waffle, and let's get on with the games, man. We only come for the games. Stop talking. Well, it wouldn't be that interesting if I just sat here and held them. Game 1, Game 2. So, let's get on with it. First up then we have Sega, not Sega, football, sports pad football, but it requires a Sega sports pad controller. And that basically is, it was like a trackball controller. I don't know why they didn't just call it a trackball controller, and I don't know why they were marketing it as a sports controller. I never really thought, sport obviously equals trackball, but apparently someone in Sega thought that was the way to go, and I've seen it, like they have brochures and stuff where they talk about it. Nuts, because when I think of trackball, I think Marble Madness and Missile Command. They're not sports. But anyway, as you can possibly tell from the back of the box if I have it in shot, this is actually just grade football, but using the sports pad controller. And grade football, yeah, those games, they don't live up to their name. So manual and character are in really nice condition. And of course, the sports pad was only released over in America, so this was an exclusive, which is always good. Keeping with the team then, we have great ice hockey, and this also only works with the sports pad thingy. And I must say that these little, because I had it like for life phaser, for 3D glasses, for sports pad, basically for if a peripheral is required, they would have this little symbol. They don't really leap out at you massively. I suppose they're thinking, well, the white, there's so much white in the simple font that any sort of colour will pop off the cover. I suppose maybe it does. All I know is that between this one, because I tried them both, if you put in a center controller, like your guy just run off to a corner and that's it. So you wouldn't be going too far without the sports pad. And yeah, we have the back of the box, and again this has got a standard release, so if you just want to play it, get the standard release. I still have to track down one of those sports pads, but the shipping will probably be a nightmare on it. So next up then we have a combo cart, and it is marksman shooting and trap shooting. Now we had a similar game released in Europe, but it also included Safari Hunt, so it was a triple cartridge. And basically it's identical except for that. And you can actually see the front there, we have another little, hey, life phaser, idiot, don't buy this without the life phaser. And back again, very similar to the triple pack we had, but without the third image and without the third little box text. I also noticed that on these combo cartridges, the text seems fairly small at the back. And like, they were releasing different combinations, I know, so was it to fit the different combinations, or they didn't always really fill the back of the box on the Sega release, or the Sega first party releases in America, and it was just cheaper localization, or what was it? Because I mean, they could do a full English box text. I'm guessing it was just they found it hard to write English box text for some of the games. And there we go, in perfect condition again, if that's in camera or not. So yeah, manual actually is in superb condition. And keeping then with team of combos, we have another combo cartridge, and again another exclusive. We have Hang On and Astro Warrior combo cartridge. Now we didn't get this at all, because I think we had Hang On Safari Hunt in the console, and then we had Astro Warrior and Pit Pot as a combo cartridge. So we did get all the games, but just in a different way altogether. And Astro Warrior, this is the first time I've played it. I played it, yay! It's not a sports pack controller, or it's not a light controller. I can play this one. Because I actually have my Master System hooked up to a CRT TV, but I've forgotten my light phaser, so I couldn't play it. But yeah, both games are good. Like Hang On, it may seem primitive, certainly compared to Super Hang On the Genesis Mega Drive, but it kind of keeps within the limitations of the system really well, and kind of captures the essence of the simplistic racing experience that they were going for. And Astro Warrior, that seems like a really good shooting game, and like the Master System isn't exactly overloaded with shooting games. It's a surprisingly underrepresented genre given the popularity of shoot 'em ups in the 80s. So I'm surprised, and when you look at the back of the box, I mean, even that little screenshot looks fairly cool. That's inshallah. Like it, I'd recommend trying it out if you're into your shooters. But yeah, 2 good games there. And the cartridge won't fall out. But manual and character in good condition. And one thing is the kind of insert. I don't know if you can really see it on camera, but it's kind of wrinkled. And while I'm on that topic, I don't think I mentioned it, but the inserts for Great Ice Hockey, the cartridge is fine and the manual is generally fine, but the cover is kind of creased. Now ordinarily I try and get that out just by putting some weight on it, but I've heard some people say that you can use an iron. So I'm curious, would an iron help take out the wrinkles in this? I don't know. Let me know if you've tried it and if it works. Certainly I can't imagine using steam iron. That would probably ruin it. But again, more and more keeping it thematic. Next up we have Astro Warrior, and yeah, same game. This is the standalone release, and clearly it just shows you how much good value I suppose some of those combo cards would have been for the time when this was a standalone release, and worthy of it, really it was. I always think it looks like he's shooting a biscuit or a pretzel or something. Die, you damn pretzel, die! Yeah, saving the world for killer pretzels. But yeah, back of the box, you might notice there's not very much English text. And I bet you Anton is the same. Yep, Astro Warrior pits you against the enemy's fleet of superpowered spaceships. And ultimately, the invincible master ship. If they're telling you up front it's invincible, you have to wonder why you'd even try. This is something you can... Oh, this is even better, right? The last line is... Oh, I'll read it all because it ends just wow. In this treacherous black universe, you can only count on yourself to shoot fast. That's a separate sentence. To shoot straight, another separate sentence. If you do, you get more powerful, more weapons. To beat the villains. To beat the odds. But if you don't, the odds beat you. Yep. You're going up, you're told this is an invincible ship. And then it ends with, the odds beat you. That sounds like a challenge. Can you beat the evil pretzels? But anyway, unfortunately, Mike appears to have wrote his name in the manual. Damn you, Mike! And the cartridge isn't perfect by any means. Missing the label. And when I went to put this in the system, it struck me, something seems odd about this. And what I was thinking was, isn't that Astro Warrior really near the Sega text? Because typically the text is aligned over here and then the logo's over here for Sega. And sure enough, not that one. Sure enough, when you compare it, it's in the same place as the Hang On Astro Warrior cartridge. And when I popped it in, it was another Hang On Astro Warrior. So that game, as it turns out, is not complete. It is, so I got the box and manual and whatnot, insert, but need the cartridge still to complete it. Speedy Minute say though that we'll sort something out next time we're doing a trade, because as I said, he's going for a full PAL set and there's more American stuff I want, so hopefully we can sort something out. Anyway, on to the last one. And we have, this is probably the one I was most interested to pick up too, and it's Montezuma's Revenge, starring Panama Joe. And as you can see, it's by Parker Brothers. They didn't just make board games, don't you know? But this was... There's, I think, only 2 third parties in America. Activision and Parker Brothers. And when you say that, you realise, man, what a sorry state of affairs. And the fact that there was over 100 games released in the system, that only had basically one company publishing, that's impressive. I mean, okay, Parker Brothers had 3 games as far as I know. Montezuma's Revenge, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, and King's Quest. And they were all what they call a text adventure action game. I look at the back and, okay, there's a lot of text, because unlike Sega with there, I mean, you couldn't get much of a contrast, could you? Nearly no text, full of text. You can tell this was an American release. There's no text looking at this picture, which if you look at the back of the box for King's Quest, or Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, you can clearly tell that they are text adventures. This looks much more like an action game. And I would have thought text adventure action game is an oxymoron anyway. I mean, you don't think of high action when you think of text adventures. Even modern ones that are more, sort of like an evolution of the text adventure genre. If you could say that, maybe stuff like Heavy Rain, which is more, they would have called it, per se, interactive fiction. In a way that is a form of, you're not reading it, but it's presenting to you this interactive story. But anyway, yeah, I really like the Parker Brothers logos. I like that, they had this circle, the game image, but keeping it, within the Master System grid theme. So it kind of makes it stand out a little. And even better, they have Montezuma's Revenge. Sorry, I don't know if this is a camera or not. Montezuma's Revenge, a logo on the label, instead of just the plain text, which I much prefer that, to be honest, than the Sega one. And then they have the Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego had a very similar, you have the game logo, and then you have this red box out for the user manual, where you have, for one player, ages 8 to adult. I assume they were going to go with the board game thing, because that was, that was what they often say in board games. And make a cartridge for the Sega system. So yeah, that is it's kind of awkward to get some of these Parker Brothers games. I don't really know why. I guess maybe they didn't sell as well as the others. Though when you're the only third party in town, you nearly think you would sell better because of it. I guess not. There's even a question as to whether or not they're US exclusives. Less so Montezuma's Revenge and King's Quest, but certainly Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, some people consider them to be European releases too, because there were certainly copies sold in Europe. I know that for a fact because I bought one. They had Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego and the local game that sold I'm going to say the local game that sold shops. Of course I mean the local shop that sold games, because it wasn't game, it was a shop called Kilroy's. And I mean, if I was able to buy it in Ireland, does that mean it was a European release, or was it an import of stock that was unsold, or what does it mean to get a release in a region? I don't know. I guess it's open to personal interpretation on how you view what you will collect and what the definition of your collection is. There's no such thing as a hard and fast rule of this is a European release, this is not a European release, because it says so. I guess it comes down to choice. But anyway, that was a nice set of games, because they were all, as I said, they're all exclusives to the US region. So there we go. And Panama's Joe, or Montezuma's Revenge, whichever you want to call it. Who is Panama Joe? I guess he must be an American hero of some description. I can't say I know. But yeah, a few combo carts, a few sports pad games, and then a couple of standalone ones and a third party. Oh, and while we're on controllers and not being able to play, this doesn't work with a Mega Drive controller, and I don't have my Master System controller with me. So out of all of these, I could literally only play Hang On and Astro Warrior. But however, they all boot and work. It's fine. Just again, the controls go a bit wonky. I should have known when the A button. I put it in and I pressed A to move on. I'm thinking A button. Normally, it's if you use a Mega Drive controller, it's B and C are mapped to 1 and 2. Not the A button. Not used for anything. So there we go. That's probably my last Master System pickups for 2011. I'll be hard pushed to get more, given that there's only in a way a few hours left. And made a fair dent into the collection this year. Now, most of the heavy lifting, you could say, is done out of what my collection goal is, and it's not a full PAL set, which is kind of the typical thing is to go for, say, a full region set. And I'm sure I'm going to talk about that in the new year at some point. So, and this video has been kind of going on forever and ever. So I may as well leave it there and wish everyone a very happy new year, and hopefully nothing catastrophic, no great catastrophe falls everyone in 2012, because, apparently the world's going to end, so it would be really, really pointless putting this video up and then, the world to end. I'll be like, well, why did I wish them a happy new year when they're now all dead? And if you believe it, well, I guess I'm sorry, but I don't believe it. I don't think the world's going to end. And so be safe, and thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm sure I'll put one up again. The world won't end.